Good morning. So much to say this morning. I guess I'll start with happy full moon, or maybe not so happy full moon. It is an intense one. There is so much energy. And it's been building. This whole Venus retro has had so much energy behind it. This whole year really has been a lot of energy. But I woke up this morning feeling like there was like literally the weight of the world. Good morning, Lacey. Thanks for joining me. Good morning, Janice. It felt like I had the weight of the world literally sitting on top of my chest. I thought I might vibrate out of my body, or just like implode or explode. I was feeling so overwhelmed. I've been fighting off a cold, like really taking care of myself, saying no to lots of things, staying home, taking lots of baths and naps and herbs and juices and tonics and pounding elderberry syrup and really taking care of myself. And I was feeling so much better yesterday, and I was thinking, oh yeah, tomorrow's the day I wake up and feel fine again, because I have a insane week or so coming up. I have planned to open the Embody course on Friday, to close the Reiki 2 program that I've been holding space for the past 2.5 months on Saturday. I have a wedding that I'll be helping with my sister's boys at on Friday, so like almost all day Friday and Friday night. Then I have a wedding in Baton Rouge, like 2 hours after my Reiki call, for a childhood friend that I will not miss and don't want to miss. And then, we dive into like all the other busyness, right? That's just like the next few days. And today I was supposed to be nonstop from 9 a.m. until, really since Gus wakes up, but in work, in business, from 9 a.m. till like 5:15. And I just didn't know how I was going to do it. I knew I needed time. I knew I could see so clearly that the way I had things set up was not going to work. I could make it work. I could physically do it, right? Like I could push through and make all the things work and not be present with anyone as I move through any of it, which is not how I want to open a space. It's not how I want to close a space. It's not how I want to attend a childhood friend's wedding. That's not what I want for my life. I don't want to be powering through things anymore. Working so hard so that I can feel like I'm doing it good enough or doing it right. For what? So that I can be worthy of love? Like that makes no fucking sense. And there are so many pieces in me now that know that and can clearly see that my value has nothing to do with my busyness and how much I can accomplish. And that if I need to take a nap, it doesn't make me a shitty person or an incapable person or a loser. It makes me someone who loves myself. It makes me someone who values myself and my health and my well-being and the people in my life and the presence that I bring to the world and to my family and to my friends and to everything, to my work, to my clients. I don't serve anyone when I'm depleted, and neither do you. And so much of our lives is spent in this state. The way I feel about the next few days used to be how every single week would feel. And I know so many people operating in this space, this headspace, this mind space every day, where they just have so much to do and all they can do is just survive it, And yeah, maybe you learn tools to breathe through it. You learn about positive affirmations and you learn to survive. You can get through your life, right? Good for you. Congratulations. You're so amazing that you're able to get through your life. No, you're so amazing. And that's why you should be allowed to live a life that feels good. That's why you should be allowed to take time and space for yourself, to say no to things. If you think about it, do you want people saying yes to doing something with you when they're really a no? Because that's what we all are walking around doing. There's Mama Gina sent out an email and I didn't read it, because stress, life, time. But the title of it just sat with me, and it sat with me for a few days, and it was, how much no is in your yes? And it's true, we're saying yes to everything when really what we want to say is no. Or really what we want to say is yes, but, or yes, and. And we want to add things or take things away, but we don't feel like we're allowed to have a say in our lives and in our schedules and what we do and don't do. We feel like we just have to do everything. And it's not working. It's not working for anybody. I know it's not working for me, and I know it's so clear it's not working for the world as a whole. And I don't want people showing up in a half yes, disguised as a full yes. I'm starting to see the way things like that show up, where people are trying to please me, try to tell me what they think that I want to hear. And it's out of integrity and it's out of alignment. And it usually ends up coming back and, getting outed that it's not the thing. And I can see and I can feel, because I'm getting much more aware of like what I feel with people and starting to really trust what I get from things, from interactions. And one of the things that's been triggering me so much lately is, not genuine presence and a lack of truth in experiences with people. And it's not because they're doing anything wrong. It's because they're living exactly how we've been told we're supposed to live, right? And I know it feels like shit to have a no disguised as a yes, because that person's afraid to say no or to not say yes, And so I don't want to show up like that with people in my life. I'm done with that. I'm done showing up in a half yes or in a no disguised as a yes because I feel like it's what they want. If that person wants time with me or work with me or to interact with me in any way, I know they want my fullness. They want me at my wholest, best self in a full body yes. Because that's what I want from the people in my life. Jamie says yes. Yeah, I don't know a single person who would say, I'd like to have lunch with someone who doesn't want to be there, but is there because they feel too bad to cancel. That feels terrible. And that's just an example. I'm having lunch today with some amazing women. I don't want any of them to think that I'm talking about that. It's just an easy example. Because how many times do we go to a party or do a thing that we really don't want to do, but we muster it up because we think we're lazy or wrong or bad or not good enough for not wanting to do it. And then we make ourselves do it. And it just ends up being this weird or dramatic or chaotic thing. And I just can see that I don't want it anymore. And I take the opportunity of being triggered by this with other people to pause and feel it and identify, what is it that's triggering me? How am I really feeling? And usually, because it's always a bunch of things, right? When someone asks, when you finally tell someone what's wrong, when you let it spill, it's like, there's this thing and that, and then this other thing, and then there's this other thing, and it all adds up, right? There's all these little things that are just crushing your heart and your chest and making it hard to breathe. And sorry, I'm moving it around a lot. My tripod is missing, so I apologize, and my hands are shaky. But yeah, so just lost my train of thought, damn it. Jamie, you want to tell me where I was, what I was just saying? Yeah, so you can see all these little tiny things adding up, right? And usually, Lacey says, I hate the no disguised as a yes. Yes. So we have to get more comfortable telling people no so that people can start to tell us no, right? And like that's in our relationships, but in like a global level too, like universally, this is a thing, y'all. And but then when you start to feel triggered and you notice like people are just pissing you off left and right, chances are it's something in you trying to get your attention. And not chances are, 100% it's something in you trying to get your attention. And so I found these two things. And so that's when you pause. Right? You pause and you breathe and you get honest with yourself and you say, what am I feeling right now? And that's a radical thing to do. It doesn't seem that radical. It doesn't seem that big. But usually if we stop and pause in that situation, it's how do I handle this? How do I fix it? What do I do? What do I say? What needs to change? We look to the future and we look outside. But then if you pause and ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? How do I feel? What's going on in my heart, in my body? And what comes up? So I was having, one of those snowball effects the other day, and I sit and I'm like, okay, what I'm really feeling is there's this little piece inside of me, and I can see her. She's like being herself, and she's so visible and honest and real, and she's saying what she needs, and she's speaking her truth. And it's like, is anyone even fucking listening to her? Because it doesn't seem like it, right? I'm like, I'm telling people things, and then when I'm interacting with them, it's like, does anyone even hear what I'm saying right now? You know, like I was having a conversation with my ex, you know, and he's saying like, well, you haven't done blah blah blah, you haven't said any of these things, and I'm like, oh my god, like I said those things several times, and I just have a moment of being like, what the fuck? Am I in some Twilight Zone? Like, I'm saying these things, I know I am, and no one's hearing them, and I could see it across the board in every space of my life, and I was just like, this is so interesting. And in that moment, you stop taking it personal, because you're like, oh, okay, this must be a thing then. If these 5 different people are making me feel this one thing. And so then you turn it on yourself. And you don't turn on yourself. You turn your awareness to yourself. And you pause and you ask, where is this showing up in my own system? Where is this happening in this microcosm of myself? So in this relationship with this other person, where do I have that same relationship happening inside of my own body, in my relationship with myself? And this is the part we resist the shit out of, because we just sat there and judged that person for an hour, a day, a week, a year, right? So if that person exists inside of us, what they're doing, we're doing too. We're a big fucking no to it, because we just judged it so hard for sometimes so long. And there's this part of like, well, I can't change my mind about that. I've invested so much time and energy into making this thing wrong that how do I sit and not make it wrong? How do I actually sit inside myself and work my own pieces when I've spent a lifetime doing it the old way, which is everybody's old way. It's all of our old way. It's not just your old way. It's not just my old way. It's all of our old way. And it doesn't work anymore. And it's becoming so much more obvious that operating outside of our truth, blaming other people, and really giving our power away and trying to accommodate and stuff our own truth, stuff our own needs to please others doesn't fucking work anymore. We're left at the end of the day feeling depleted and like we can't receive, and like other people can't receive what we're giving, because everyone's so busy trying to give enough to be enough that no one can sit down and receive. And that creates an epidemic, like a world of starved hearts, of unheard voices, of unmet needs, emotional needs. And so when I sat with this piece in myself, this radical new way of doing things, and saw that every time I would go to eat something that my body didn't want, she would clearly tell me, no, I'm a no to this. Or if I'd go pick up my phone to get on Instagram for no reason other than to scroll and distract myself from her, which is one of the things we talk about in the Embody program. So I've been much more aware of it as I prepare to hold that space. She tells me no, and it's so clear. She is so clearly saying what she wants and what she needs, just like I've been doing in my relationships, in my business, in my life. And then I just don't hear her. It's like, oh, huh? Anyone opposed to this? No? Okay. Or I pick up my phone, I'm like, oh, no, you didn't want to do this? Too late. It's already open. I'm just going to scroll for a few seconds. And I brush her off. And I don't listen to her. And I avoid. It's like the wind. Oh, did anyone hear that? You know, like in junior high when your friend who you're mad at is talking to you and someone's like, oh my God, is that the wind, y'all? Do y'all hear someone talking? That's what I was doing to myself. And that's how it was showing up on the outside. I was like, am I even fucking talking? Is there a voice coming out of my mouth? Am I an actual person that exists that people can see and hear and like respect and connect with? Like, what the fuck? And then I realized like, oh, I haven't been treating myself like I'm a person whose words are valuable. I haven't been treating myself as someone who is wise and knows things and knows what she needs and knows how to take care of herself. I haven't been respecting myself, and I've been consciously disconnecting every time I eat, every time I pick up the phone, every time I would turn on the TV, you know, every time I would just turn my heart away from the person who is hurting me and lash out. Every time I did those things, I was disconnecting from myself. And so, of course, I felt disconnected from everyone else, because every single relationship is a reflection of a different relationship within you. Every single one. Your relationship with your partner, with your money, your relationship with your mother, your relationship with your children, your relationship to the cashier that's checking you out at Walmart that day, your relationship to the world, to the patriarchy. You know, we all have our own inner patriarchy, our own inner way that this shit that's not working anymore, we don't fix it in the outside world first. We fix it in ourselves. We have to connect with our own wisdom, our truth. And that is the feminine. That is the way of the sacred feminine, of being embodied, of being willing to be present with yourself and to be honest with yourself about the ways you are and aren't doing what you need for yourself, the ways you are and aren't listening to yourself. There are so many ways that I listen to myself, and there are still ways that I don't, and I can't get mad or blame others for not listening to me if I'm not listening to me either. I can't get mad at others for not respecting my emotions if I'm not respecting my emotions either. And so that's why this work is important, because it connects you to your truth, and your truth is sacred. Your truth is sacred. It's not convenient, and it's not easy, and it's not simple, and so many times it doesn't feel safe. But it's sacred, and it is the only thing that matters. It is the only thing that's real. You telling someone, honestly, I'm not up for dinner anymore. Actually, I don't want to move anymore. I have a friend who's planning this big move, and now she's like, I don't know if I want to move. Changing your mind about a breakup or a divorce, or changing your mind about a plan that you made. You're allowed to do that if it's what's real and true for you. And it's scary. That's why we avoid our truth, because it requires us to say, hey, I don't want to move. I don't know if I want to move. Hey, I don't know if I can close our space on Saturday. Hey, I don't know that I want to open Embody on Friday. Hey, I don't know that I want it to be only 4 weeks long. Hey, I don't know what exactly I want or need, but I know that this thing isn't working. And I'm going to take on the self-responsibility to do the work, to sit and figure it the fuck out and find out what I do want, what I do need. And it was easy for me this morning. I canceled a training for my Reiki ladies. A lot of them are on here now. Thank y'all for being y'all and understanding. And I knew I needed space to breathe and think this morning, because I could see so clearly everything that wasn't working. And that's what this full moon is showing us. This full moon with Venus retrograde, with all this other planetary shit happening, it's showing us so clearly today. It's so obvious today what is no longer working in your life, what feels bad, what's out of alignment with you, what is not operating for your truth or in your truth. And when you show up out of integrity, it hurts. It hurts you, it hurts others. And it's not always hurtful like pain, like heart pain. It can be uncomfortable. It can be stressful. It can be anxiety inducing. It can create confusion or chaos for yourself and your people. And I know none of us really want that, right? So Janice says yesterday was tough. Eye opener. I knew this, but I forgot about it. Yes. It's been so hard. It's been so hard. And it's like, I get the image of we're like the caterpillar that is reforming after the goose stage. I mean, a caterpillar has to break down its entire body and reform it to transition into a butterfly. Like literally turns to liquid and is something completely new on the other side. And that's where we're at. We are becoming new. We are being reborn. I compare the transformation process to the birth process a lot, because that's what it is. It's a rebirth. And to have this rebirth, there's the death of the life as the caterpillar, where you had all of your feet on the ground. You know, you were safe. You knew what to expect. Life moved slowly, and you could plan for it in advance, because there has been a time where like the plan worked, the masculine worked. Having a plan and a structure worked. And now it's not working anymore. And we're being asked to liquefy our beliefs, our structures, our internal structures, our external structures. We're asked to melt and dissolve everything we thought we knew about ourselves and about our lives, and expand and learn how to fly and how to move so differently with the world and in the world, so that we can be these colorful, alive beings. I mean, if you look at like the way a caterpillar moves versus how a butterfly moves, it's so different. Not just the fact that like, oh yeah, caterpillar to butterfly, it's so different. Like everything about it is so different. And that's where we're at right now, and it's uncomfortable at best. At best, on the good days, it's just uncomfortable. On the hard days, it's really fucking hard. It comes up as body pain, as really traumatic or painful periods, divorce, relationship stuff, money stuff, you know, unexpected bills, constantly losing money, not being able to hold on to it, constantly feeling like you're so close to having the thing you want and then like seeing it slip away or watching it slip through your fingers, feeling like you're finally on some steady ground and then having that shift and move, because life is always shifting and moving. If we're trying to anchor ourselves into the outside world, we're going to always feel uprooted during every time we change. And there will be more transformation. It's not like we come out of this one and we're done transforming, right? We come out of this one and there's like a pause, a celebratory phase, an integration phase, and then we transform again. It's what we are designed to do. We're here to grow and evolve. And so if we are anchored to the outside, to the floor, every time the floor shifts, every time our foundation is asked to change, we're going to feel like, what the fuck is happening? And we're going to be scared, and we're not going to know what to do, and we're going to freeze up, and it's going to be overwhelming and terrifying. But if you can anchor inside of yourself, if you can feel so at home and so safe in your body that you trust the shifting of the earth, and you trust that you're going to be held and you're going to end up exactly where you need to be, then you don't have to fear the times of transformation. You don't have to contract so hard in the painful times. You can trust and stay open and let yourself feel the pain. Let yourself feel the doubt so that you can realize what you're a no to. So you can see your truth and the ways that you're not honoring it. And I don't say that as the ways that you're not honoring your truth. I'm not fussing. We're all walking around not honoring our truth in some ways, big or small, obvious or otherwise. You know, there's always a possibility that something in our life is no longer a good fit or is no longer working. Something that used to work may not work anymore. Something that used to not work might work again. Like, we can't know. We can't decide anything. We can't plan for anything. All we can do is be present and feel and experience and be ourselves and trust that that's enough. And that is fucking radical. I find myself this morning, so I woke up, I knew I needed time and space, so I canceled my Reiki training for my students this morning and just told them, look, I need space. You know, I'm feeling sick. I'm feeling overwhelmed. The full moon is a lot, and I just know like I can't do this call right now, and possibly the closing ceremony Saturday. We'll see. And as soon as I said that, I felt like I could breathe, because I knew I'd created space for me to sit and think about embody, because I've known for a few days now that embody wasn't feeling right, and that something about it didn't feel like it is in its truth, in its highest expression. Not that it's wrong or bad. It's an amazing program. And I think it can be better. I think it can be more. I think it can go deeper. And I think I don't think 4 weeks is enough. And I've been afraid to admit that because I'm a month into the launch. I have people signed up. I sent out the email last night, the welcome email. The doors close tomorrow. You know, that I did the whole thing. And it's like, who am I to feel like I'm allowed to change my mind? But I don't want to go into this wondering what if. What if I had pushed it back a few weeks? What if I had added a couple weeks to it, some more modules, some more practices, more materials? What if we had gone deeper? And I didn't. I would rather deal with the uncertainty and the fear of who do I think I am to be making these changes than the regret of what if this could have been more? What if this could have been more true, more real, more powerful? And so it's not that like not being in your truth or being in your highest self is always bad. But what if there's more? What if you could be and experience and feel more instead of just surviving your days? Like, yeah, you're probably getting by, you know. Y'all are all here on the internet right now, so obviously you can afford the internet and a phone. So it's like you're eating, you're living, you're maintaining things. But what if there's more? I know there's more. I know there's more. And that's why I am pausing the launch of Embody. And the price will be going up. The amount of time that we're spending together will be going up. And the deeper we will go so much deeper than I originally had planned, because I know I want more for you. I want more for me. I want more for everyone. And so we're doing that. We're doing more. And it's scary. Oh my God, it's scary. I'm in my car. I felt like it was scary to cancel my Reiki class this morning, you know, but I knew it'd be okay. You know, I've worked with all of these women for so long. They're friends, they're family to me. I knew it would be okay. Pausing the class feels very different. I have new clients in this class. I have new people. I have, it's different, you know, it feels, if I cancel a Reiki class, only my Reiki students know about it. If I upset an entire launch, you know, and change an entire program, everyone on my public platform knows about it. And the thing is, if I stand up there and keep trying to do it in a way that doesn't feel right, people see it, you know. People know it, that I'm not in my truth, that this course isn't in its truth, because there's something more. And I want to honor that. And this morning I was scared about it. I forgot about the more. All I knew was it wasn't working. I forgot about the more, the possibility, the wonder, the space, the expansion. And in honoring my no, you know, I decided, okay, I'm changing it. I don't know how. I don't know what I'm doing. But I was so fucking scared. I'm like dropping Gus off at school and I'm like, am I really going to do this? Am I allowed to do this? Can I do this? And all I knew was that I needed to pause it. I needed to say no to the way I currently have it planned. And then the next step was, so what do I want then? What do I want for this program? If this isn't what I want, what do I want? And that's the next step. You find your no. You find how you're feeling. You find where your no is. You honor it. And then you get curious. You do the work. You take the responsibility of creating the shift into what you do want, because it's in your hands and only your hands. You know, people can guide you, people can hold space for you, but you're the only one who can take your happiness, your truth, your life in your hands and say, these are the things that aren't working. I see this now. This is my no. You decide, do you want to live your life in a half yes, half no? Or do you want to live in a full yes? And if you do, then find your yes. What do you want? And now I see like what I do want. And when I sat there and did that step, I was like, I wonder what more this can be. And I felt my heart open. And she's been having a really hard time. She's been keeping her walls down, but she has been like kind of looking over her shoulder, like ready at any moment to pull her defenses up. She's like, I'm willing to stand here naked, even though all these things, but I do know where the blanket is if I decide to hide. And then in that moment of, okay, what do I want then? She opened up and she relaxed and she started to wonder and daydream and play with the idea of what more can we add to this? How can we make it wider and deeper and bigger? And suddenly, instead of focusing on how do I fit myself into this small container, how do I change myself, make myself smaller? How do I fit me into this thing that doesn't feel good? It became, how do I match my expansiveness with this thing? How do I grow it? How do I create more room and more depth and more experience? And that feels so much better than how do I find the time? How do I make it work? How do I honor the system that I decided on? No, how can you change your mind? How can you create more space? How can you honor your heart and your desire? Because when you do that, everyone wins. I promise. I promise. I was actually I had gone through all of this. Then I went and saw that my teacher had done a live stream in her group, and I was like, yes, I'd been missing her. You know, she'd been processing some things, and she'd been on vacation before that. So I watched it, and she's sharing basically her version of this exact same process that I was in. And I was like, yes. And she gave me the courage and the space to go deeper into my process. And that was when I shifted into wonder and shifted into what could this be? You know, I messaged her after and was like, oh my God, this is what's happening. And she was like, oh, well, I'm so glad it helped somebody. Like she was thinking like, nobody's going to want to hear any of this. You know, she really thought like it was so dumb that she was talking about what she was talking about. And it was profound for me. It was exactly the reassurance that I needed. And she didn't get on there hoping to change something for anybody. She just knew like, okay, I'm just going to be myself and share my truth. And in doing that, it brought me deeper into mine. And that's what I hope. Like, sure, this might bring y'all into your truth. It may fucking not. Some people may watch this and be like, what is she talking about? But at the end of the day, I'm honoring what's true for me. And that's all I can do. And that's all you can do. And when we're doing that, we feel so much more safe. You really will, I promise. Because I feel safe. And the only thing that has changed is where my heart is, the openness of my heart and where I'm operating. I was operating in my head and slightly out in front of myself before, you know, trying to anticipate and prepare and navigate life and situations with my brain. And it fucking sucked. It felt so shitty. And now I'm in my body, I'm in my womb with an open heart. I'm letting my womb hold me. I'm feeling the anchor, the gravity of my root so that my heart feels safe to open and get curious and play. And my fire feels settled. So I feel like now I can take action from a really grounded, settled, true, inspired space. Whereas before, that is not where I would have been taking action from. And it's because I found my no so that I could create space to find my yes. And so I invite you to do the same. Take an hour today. You can, I promise. You might feel like you can't. Your brain's going to say you can't. My brain has been so pissed all morning. And now she's like, oh, okay, yeah, I see that you knew what you were doing. I forgot that we know what we're doing. So I invite your brain to remember that she knows, right? That actually there is a part of you that knows what she's doing. So much energy. Catching up with your comments. Yes, so it seems like everyone's in agreement. Everyone's in a similar space. And so, yeah, with that, I'll just take a few moments and we'll just breathe together. So in through the nose and out through the mouth. One more together. And so I'll leave you with some steps. I will sort of simplify this and give you a plan. A plan that is a plan without a plan, really. So I just invite you first to get curious about all the triggers right now. All the things that are setting you off, pissing you off, hurting you, making you feel overwhelmed, stressed. Just look at all the things and you can write them all down or take time to sit and mentally feel each one. That's important. You want to take in every single experience because usually we note them, send them back and tuck some memory of them in, but we don't really feel them or experience them. And we miss the opportunity to see what it has to do with us. So, and This is a great thing for anxiety because usually it's going through and listing all the things that you're anxious about or scared about or that don't feel good. And what really doesn't feel good about those things is when we're running from them. So if you're no longer running from them, they don't feel so scary. You know, if you're willing to sit them down in front of you and line them up and look at them, they're not chasing you anymore. They're like, okay, finally, she's seeing us. Now we can tell her what we want to tell her. And then that's the next step. So step 2 is like, what is this telling me? What am I feeling? What is the actual experience here? And that's usually when you'll get that image like I did of the girl like talking and it's like, is anyone even fucking hearing me? You know, you'll have some version of that for yourself that you see. And then, you know, look at the ways, step 3, how is that happening in your own system, in your own relationship with yourself? So for me, it always means an honest look. So take the honest look, right? That's step 3. Be honest with yourself. Where am I doing this to myself? And that's when I saw the ways I was not listening when I would go to binge with food or social media or TV or some form of distraction. I would, and, you know, stuff it past her. So that's what everyone outside of me was doing. Like, oh, you're talking? I don't, I don't hear you. And then step 4 is to, you know, get clear on what's not working. For me, it was not listening to myself in those moments was clearly not working. So I was clear about that. Okay, I will start listening to myself before I eat, before I pick up my phone. I will start honoring that voice. I will try to hear her more clearly is what it used to be. And now I hear her clearly, but I ignore her. So now I will listen to her. So find your no and then find your yes. And then get curious, you know, what's possible? What could be possible for me when I'm really listening to myself? And it's so funny because it's been less than 24 hours or like a day or 2 since I've had that awareness. And I find people listening to me now. It's so interesting. People like when I say, like I'll use the example of my ex. I said the same thing I'd been saying for weeks and he was able to hear me and respond with, okay, yeah, I get that. I'm feeling the same thing. I'm like, he heard me. And it was like such a little miracle. There was such a celebration there of like, oh my God, okay. I had only been listening to myself for like literally a few hours at that point. And immediately someone was able to hear me because I was starting to hear myself. Oh my God, fly. So, yeah, those are your steps I'll leave you with. I will be honoring the price for Embody through Monday. So on Monday is when the price will change and I'll have, hopefully have the new container and the new additions and changes, but the price will likely be going up by a couple $100s. So if you already were kind of thinking you want Embody, and now you're hearing that it's about to get bigger and deeper and better and more expensive, then hop in at the cheaper price. I'll keep it at $111 until, so like Sunday night at midnight or Monday morning when I wake up. You just have to message me. You can sign up on the website. I'll post the links. But yeah, I will be clearing some space for myself this weekend to get super clear on the more. And I invite you to do the same in whatever this metaphor was about for you. And I will be sending y'all so much love. Jamie just says, according to the site I just checked, the moon is officially full at 11:45 a.m. our time. Yes, it is. So in 10 minutes, in 10 minutes, we will have total illumination. So good, right? There's so much wisdom that comes with it. And everyone focuses on how uncomfortable it is, how much it sucks, right? Because it's so uncomfortable to have all of these triggers illuminated. But when you can see it that way and see it that this moon is just shining some light on the stuff that's not working, it really changes your experience of it. And so cheers to total illumination. Happy full moon. Thank y'all for listening to me, you know, just talk about truth, I guess. Sending y'all so much love.